What's up everyone, and thank you for stopping by the channel. Today's project is this steel trimmer, and the problem is that it starts but it won't stay running. Let's take a good look at it, find out what's wrong with it, and hopefully we can fix it. In this video we try and repair this trimmer. However, it may not be the exact repair that you need to make to yours. We'll explore other options later in the video. Now, Steel has always been a fantastic brand and it has a very loyal following. Now, just because you buy a high quality trimmer doesn't mean you won't ever have a problem with it, and that seems to be the case here. Now, I don't have a lot of history on this machine other than it has a running issue, so I'll start with the basics then. So the first thing I wanted to examine was the fuel in the tank. However, when I got it, it was completely empty, so we won't be able to tell anything about it. That means I had to put my own fuel in the tank to try and start it. Now, old, stale, or contaminated fuel could allow you to start your engine, but it may not run correctly. Now, the first thing that catches my attention is the fuel filter. It's sitting in a strange position. It's sitting near the back of the tank, and it's almost out of the fuel level. So the first thing I'm going to do is push the filter back to the lower part of the tank. So the next thing I want to check is the spark arrestor screen. It sits on the exhaust outlet of the muffler, and if it's clogged with carbon, it can make the engine run poorly. Now, unfortunately, it's kind of hard to get to, so I'll have to take off the rear cover, which is also part of the recoil assembly. This would also be a great time to lubricate the recoil spring if you're having some problems with the rope retracting properly. And unfortunately, it looks like the screen is completely clear, so that's not our problem. Now, if it was clogged, I would have used a torch to try and burn the carbon away, followed by a wire brush. Now, the reason why it's there is to reduce the chances of catching the grass on fire. Since I haven't found any obvious problems, I'm going to try to start it and see how it's running. So it started and ran for a bit, but it really didn't want to stay running. Now, it could be a bit cold-natured, so I'll try starting again. This time I'll put it in the half-choke position. So it pretty much did the same thing as before, it just doesn't want to idle. Now, the first thing I want to do is try and adjust the carburetor. To do that, I'll need a special tool, and you can buy that from Amazon or eBay. Now, if you don't want to buy the tool, you can try using a terminal connector to try to turn the fuel adjustment screws, but it won't be as accurate. Now, you could try using some needle nose pliers, but they would have to be very, very small. Now, the special tool is usually part of a larger kit that's about $10 to $15, but I think you can buy the tool individually as well. Now, the hole marked L is for low speed adjustments, while the one marked H is for high speed adjustments. And since the filter cover makes things a little tough to see, I'm going to remove it so you can see exactly what I'm doing. Now, since we're having an idling problem, the first adjustments I'm going to make are to the L screw, which is closer to the engine. Now, once I get it idling and running, I'll turn my attention to the H screw, which is closer to the air filter. Now, I normally make these adjustments while it's running, but since we're having a running problem, I'll have to make these adjustments while it's off. Now, before I make any adjustments, I want to make sure the trimmer line is out of the head and at full cutting length. This will put a load on the engine and give us a better tune. Also, make sure that the line that's in it will be the line that you'll be using when trimming. Now, since it's having problems idling, the first thing I'd like to do is try adding some fuel to the engine. To do that, I'm going to turn the L screw counterclockwise about a quarter turn and then try starting it. Now, extra fuel will also slow the engine down a bit, so I'm going to turn the idle screw clockwise just a bit to keep the engine running. If it doesn't respond well, I might consider taking fuel away. So it seems to be running pretty well now, and it looks like the carburetor just needed a slight adjustment on the L screw. I then moved over to the H screw and took some fuel away and then added some, but it didn't make any difference, so I ended up putting it back in the position where it started. Now the last thing to do is let the engine cool down and make sure it starts back up with the settings that it's at. So it started right up and it ran very well, and the only thing I did was increase the engine speed very slightly. So my question is, would you buy a steel trimmer, or are they just too expensive when compared to other brands like Echo or Husqvarna? I'd really like to hear what your thoughts are. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate your time here. Please feel free to ask any questions, and I hope to see you in my next video.